origin reading for, let me see if I can get this code name right. Okay, Iota Horologii B, I think. It might be Horologii. I had to look this up. I had to look actually some other things up too. So your guides wouldn't speak to me for a few days. I had your reading scheduled. They wouldn't talk for a few days. Okay, that's happened before. But then before I go into your reading, I get a feeling today, okay, I can do so-and-so's reading. So just as I am about to come down into the room to do the reading, and this never happens, I have a guide coming in before I come down into the room. That never happens. Like I'm always in the room. I'm always at least setting up the room before I have a guide come up. Normally, I already have the person's picture out, and I'm attempting to get the code name, and then I feel some guides come up. And sometimes they don't even reveal themselves. They're communicating, but they don't really want to say who they are. So this never really happens. So first they don't want to talk, and then they almost want to scream when they talk. And so first I have the one guide coming up, and I get a very clear feeling of Andromeda, a very strong feeling. So I'm thinking maybe this is even your origin or something. But no, then I'm getting a clear feeling of the guide, and this is the guide's origin. So one of your guides is definitely from Andromeda. Okay, so then I'm in the room and I have some guides around. First I had, there was a male guide coming in. And this guide, I've spoken about this in another reading. This comes in once in a while during a reading. I'll have a guide come in, and it's a little bit hard to explain this type of energy. It almost feels like a death type of energy, almost like if you were to think of like an angel of death and the type of current that is. But at the same time, it's not a negative current. It's a very positive current, but it is a guide that allows you to let go and move through things that you're holding on to. And that's really what the energy of death is about. It's a transformation, but in order to get to something new, you have to let go of something negative that's binding you. Okay, that's pushing you backward, or you're holding on to something that you need to remove. So this guide steps in. This is the guide that helps you with that. It helps you through spiritual transitions in this way, or mental and emotional. Now, it can be physical too, but not in the way of death, and this person helps you cross over or something like that. It does not feel that way. It would be more like you have a physical condition, and they're helping you to get healing from it. Okay, so it definitely still feels like a death energy. But again, it's actually very positive, and it's to help you move out of something that is negative. Okay, so that was that guide. Then I have this other guide behind me who is female and coming in with a ton of energy. Okay, so this is when the Iota blah, blah, blah came in. I'm not even going to say that again, if I can help it. So this is when that starts coming in. Now this guide, I couldn't even tell she was female at first. She actually has a very masculine energy, but she is female. And just holding a lot of energy, and kind of a blasting kind of energy. Like I said, when at first your guides don't want to talk, and then they almost want to like scream at me. This energy is just very present. I don't really know how to say it. Kind of blasting a little bit. Right now, not as much, but I can definitely feel where it could. So, um, I I got the feeling from it, the energy of this guide, okay? It reminds me exactly of the feeling if you're standing on a beach, okay, and it's windy and the wind is blowing the water across the surface of the beach, okay? And so there's like a feeling of the wind is moving the sand, and it's not like moving the ocean, but it is moving the surf of the water, okay? The little bit of water that's coming up onto the land, onto the beach. That's what it feels like. It's very specific. There was this feeling with it, strangely enough. I don't even understand why that would be there, but that is what it felt like. That's what it reminded me of. Okay, so this is when this code name was coming in. Now, the way that it started actually coming in was Cronus. It came in as Cronus. And I'm going, what the heck is Cronus? So I look up Cronus, and this is a Greek deity. A lot of times the Greek deities are connected to some kind of astrology. Okay, so then I'm looking that up, and it was connected to Saturn, but I knew that wasn't it. I had a distinct feeling that that is definitely not it. So then pops up this Iota Horologii B thing, okay? And it's in the constellation Horologium, which is called the pendulum clock. Because all these constellations, they tend to be, they tend to have some kind of drawing or something with them, like the horse or whatever. So this was coming in as the origin. I'm sorry, this energy is so intense. I'm having trouble thinking. Okay, so then there was also another feeling with Cronus, though. There was another name that came up, Chiron. Okay, and this is having to do with the constellation Sagittarius, and Chiron was one of Cronus's sons. That's why that name was there. There were other names there too, but I was specifically getting a feeling of Chiron, not as the origin. This other place is most definitely the origin, but this there was a feeling with this name as well. And then I kept getting a horse constellation. Okay, so I also looked that up, and hold on here. Okay, so there were two places. So I know Pegasus is a horse constellation, so obviously that came up, and there is a feeling of a lifetime there. But then there was this other one coming up that I've never really heard of before. I may have seen it once before, but a long time ago, I never would have remembered it. And there's an extremely intense feeling with this. And I don't even know how to say this name. Eculius, maybe? But its name is Latin for little horse. There was a very, very strong feeling coming up with this that you've had like several lifetimes there. I might have to send you the names where I write them down in the email that I send you, because I can't even pronounce a lot of these correctly. Okay, so those were that was what was coming in. There was also a feeling of Lyra that came in right after Andromeda came in. Okay, so there's a feeling of a Lyran guide. I do feel like you've had some lifetimes in Lyra, though. Okay, now I'm getting a feeling of Aldebaran as well, but again, this feels like maybe a few or even one lifetime. It doesn't feel like a lot of lifetimes there. Okay, so that was everything that came through before the reading. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get into these crystals. Now, when I was setting up the room, I was actually playing, I always play meditation music. I was playing crown chakra music. But then when I pulled the stones, and this doesn't usually happen either, but then when I pulled the stones, they were all the polar opposite of the crown chakra. They were all lower chakra stones, all 5 of them. I have 5 here. So this is my Jasper pyramid. Someone recently told me that they're pretty sure that it's Mookaite. So this might be a Mookaite Jasper. I'm not 100% sure. And then I have my citrine here and this this Jasper sphere, tiger's eye Jasper. And I have another tiger's eye here. And then I have an unidentified orange stone. I do not know what type of stone this is. It's kind of an orangish yellow. And it looks slightly different in the camera though. I'll say that. Okay, so those are the stones that I have. So all of these are extremely grounding. And this citrine has to do with self-identity. And it has to do with your ambition, your drive. So this correlates a lot to the solar plexus. But all of these have to do with the last 3 chakras, your solar plexus, your sacral, your root. And I would say especially your root, there's definitely a feeling of. So physical strength and physical endurance, also endurance in general, things like combating fear, being more secure in your environment, being more secure in the physical world around you, eliminating confusion and other negative emotions that make you feel stressed, that make you feel anxious, that make you feel like you're not quite safe. Okay, so any emotions that are related to fear, which anxiety, stress, those types of emotions would be. Even anger can be related to fear a lot of times. Okay, there was something else that I was going to say. Right, okay. But all of these especially have to do with grounding. That's really the most important thing here with these last 3 chakras, especially the root chakra. This really has to do with grounding. There's a feeling that to really find your path, as far as what you are here to bring in and what you're going to be doing, I feel like there's kind of a hint here with this energy of wind, how it's blowing across the water, and specifically the surface of the water. Like I said, it's blowing across the sand, and then also this other guide coming in with this energy of death, of letting go, of reconstructing something, rebuilding something, even rethinking something. Um, so there's a lot of shifting energies with both of these. Definitely, they have to do with change. Um, and that definitely has to do with your path. So there is a hint with that, but I feel like this is going to come more to later um, as far as what actual steps you're going to be taking when it comes to putting your energy out. Right now, I feel like you're finding out what your energy is. So you need to be connecting more to these guides. Okay, so this guide was attempting to get a name through as well. Tran something. And I was thinking it was coming in almost like transon. And so, and she was saying no, but she was saying it's very, very similar. Then it was coming in like transen, and it's continuing to come in like transen. And this is specifically Z-E-N. So this is Tranzen. It's coming in like. There's almost even kind of this rumbling, kind of thunder type of feeling with this, but still almost in the more quiet way. Like if you were in the eye of a storm, it's very quiet. There's some rumbling thunder, there's wind, but it's not really raining. There's not really a storm going on. It's very quiet. Is it feeling like you should do a lot of reading? There are spiritual things that you're going to read that are going to help you, and even practices that you're going to find that you resonate with. So explore different spiritual practices that you have a feeling of, and then certain ones are going to resonate with you, and hold those and keep doing those. And this is going to build on an energy that is going to enable you to connect to your guides more, as well as other spiritual entities. I do feel like you have some psychic ability. A lot of this is related to your crown chakra. So some of this has to do with shifting in and out of dimensions. So there's some healing ability there with that. So in order to heal someone, you basically can shift them, in other words, out of whatever physical thing they are experiencing. So they have to be shifted to another place, in a sense, to another frequency, in order to hold a new energy so that they can be healed, in order to hold a new energy of their healing. So this is also part of the reason that you are having this death guide around you, and he's coming in. And he's definitely a guide that's around you all the time. So this is one of your main guides, but he helps you with specific things. Your main two guides, most people have two main guides, and they help you with sort of everything. So he's not one of those, but he's still like part of the main group that is around you. But he doesn't just help you in general, he helps you with certain specific areas, and mastering certain things, and letting go and transforming certain things. Now, she is definitely one of your main guides as well. This number 5 just keeps coming in. Even pulling 5 crystals. And I'm getting distinctly there are 5 guides. So 5 main guides around you. So you have this group of 5 main guides. That doesn't mean that there can't ever be someone else who comes in and temporarily contacts you to help you with something specific. This happens sometimes, but that would be a temporary guide. So you have 5 guides around you who are your main guides who have contracted with you since before you were born. So they've been with you since birth, or maybe longer than that even. If they had other lifetimes with you, which some of them certainly may have. That's very common. And so you have these main guides around you. So they've contracted with you, in other words, for your whole lifetime. Okay, so one of them is a Lyran guide. One of them is this Andromedan guide. And then this female guide has the same origin as you, which I'm not going to repeat again, because I don't even think I'm saying it right is a big part of the reason. And also it's just kind of hard to say. And there's also this death guide as one of your main guides as well. So there's one other guide who would be a main. Okay, so there's one other guide that would be a main guide also. Okay, so this, I just want to make sure of this. Okay, so this guide that's been behind me, this female guide, so she is one of the 2 main guides that I was talking about, where there are 2 main guides who really help you with everything. They help you in general, just with everything. So she's one of those. So there's one guide that I'm missing, but this would almost definitely be a male guide. And I am kind of feeling an energy definitely of a male guide. But that's just generally pretty much always how it works. I'm not sure if I've had a reading where sometimes there's like one androgynous being, okay, and that's the person's main guide and they don't have to. That's happened before, still not that often. But for the most part, it's one male and one female are the person's 2 main guides that help them with everything. Okay, so there's just the male guide that I'm missing, but I am feeling a strong male energy, and I keep getting Orion again and again and again. Orion, Orion, Orion. I feel like this guide is also connected to the Pleiades somehow, but I don't feel like that's his origin. It feels like Orion. So you're probably, you could have been resonating with different places, just because you have various guides from different places and as their origin, and then they may even have had other lifetimes in other places. In fact, they probably have. They most definitely, some of them most definitely have. So there could be some confusion with that even, because you've probably resonated with different places or just didn't know. And you might have some strong feelings about different places. So that can be kind of confusing. And that's the thing about origin. Like knowing you're a star seed, that's a lot easier. Like in the channeling that we put out a long time ago from Clash Star that I channel, she was saying, it's, do you resonate? Do you resonate with it? Very simple. Do you feel a resonation? Does something within you, is something calling out to you basically from within yourself? You are a star seed, and even as you're watching that message, is it calling out to you? Are you feeling an intense resonance that your origin is somewhere else? And it doesn't always have to come up in a really intense way, but do you feel a resonance that your soul is from somewhere else? Okay. Um, or that you've had lifetimes somewhere else. So that's a lot easier. But then when it comes to actually stepping into your origin, that can be kind of confusing because you have, you know, so many different energies around you. It can be different things. You can feel like I'm from the Pleiades because I have a guide that is from there or had lifetimes there, or you get my points. Okay, but your healing abilities are sticking out. I've got about a minute left. But your healing abilities are sticking out and shifting people kind of from one dimension to the other. But in a slight way, it feels like you're just shifting this disease or this illness to a positive frequency. And that's how you're healing them. But then also this ability to connect to other dimensions. And that could come out in various ways as well. There are definitely different abilities that can come from that. One very obvious one that could come from that, but not necessarily, would be mediumship. But I do feel like your guides, I do feel like they're wanting you to call on them, especially this one female guide, but you literally got all of your guides. All of them came through during this reading, where most of them, you know where they're from, except this death guide. Well, actually, he kind of feels sort of like an angel. Um, but always with this death energy, I feel like it's actually a very specific type of being. It's like a specific being type. They feel kind of similar to an angel, but they're not exactly. I do actually feel like he has had an incarnation as an angel, though. Um, but he's not that being type. He's this other specific being type, which I don't really think anybody is necessarily talking about or that there's necessarily a name for, but this being type comes through during a reading occasionally. Then you've also got a dragon around you um, as like a power animal or a totem animal. So this person is kind of flying around you. Maybe that's why I was seeing the wings and then I was seeing the tail, but I think that had to do with you. This was when I was getting the code name. I completely forgot about that. So I think this might actually have been related to the dragon. But when I was getting your code name, I was seeing wings all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing this tail though. I kind of thought it was like more angelic wings, but then I'm seeing the tail. Okay, so I feel like these abilities are going to heighten more as you're calling on your guides. And also as you're finding your own zen and your own balance, it's specifically coming in with that word zen. Um, and this is obviously something as well in her name that she's bringing through. And this is clearly not the guide's actual name. She's an alien. So this is a message. This is part of the message to call her that. That's why she's coming in with that name. And it is her name. It is her name for you. and for whatever she's doing with you. Like one of the guides that I channel, his name is Ezekiel Mimcat, and his real name is Mimcat. He's an Atlantean, but he takes on the name Ezekiel as well when he's channeling for some reason. Okay, so our time is up. Okay, and that is all that your guides have to say for now. Okay, so thank you very much. I usually say the code name here too, but not going to do that. Okay, so thank you so much for allowing me to do this reading for you, and I truly hope that it benefits you. Thank you very much for allowing me to connect to your guides. Thank you. Namaste.